are driven by the finer things. I see more than materials and wealth. What have you got to give to me? What I don't already give myself. You are driven by the...
Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Illuminated DiiSCLAIMER. My name's Sydney, and yeah, nice to come back and give you more words of wisdom on a bright, beautiful morning. I just wanted to talk more about coping mechanisms. In my past, let's just use me as an example. There have been multiple times in the past where I was going through situations and I didn't really actually formulate the right ways to, look after myself in regards to finding healthy ways to cope. And as a result, I relied more on what people were doing in order to take their woes away without much thought. When I was running away from my problems, then that's when I started going to unhealthy coping mechanisms as a result. And some of these involved mainly drinking alcohol, partying, speaking to people who weren't necessarily good for me, and just doing more self-harm to my body. And I thought to myself, the more I run away from my problems, the more chance that they'll actually eventually disappear. And I realized the hard way that quite the opposite is true. So when I started going through my journey of random disclaimer back in 2018, I realized that I need to change the way I see things within myself and find a more way which can leave a positive and healthy version of me instead of an unhealthy version of me, which is dependent and lives an unpurposed life. So I started going through that journey, and 5 years later I've made a lot of progress, a lot of healing, and a lot of self-understanding as a result. And my outlook changed because my ways to self-soothe and to cope by having mechanisms around was the basis of me actually finding that pivotal moment where I decided to change my life and illuminate the world as a result. So today I wanted to just talk about 5 different types of coping mechanisms that helped me. And also, please can you write in the comment section other coping mechanisms that you currently use. And what I'll do is I'll read through the comments, and if I do find quite a few, then I'll make another episode with more different types of coping mechanisms. That way we can make sure that if people don't agree with what I do in this video, then there'll be more videos where people can agree with. So I'll just say your support is greatly needed and greatly appreciated, so thank you very much. The first coping mechanism that I used was forgiveness. I spent a very long time in a vibration of guilt and shame, and as a result fear as well. And that's because I felt that I did things which hurt other people. I felt that I brought misery and pain to people. I felt that me rejecting people actually made them worse off as a result. And I encouraged people around me to do self-destructive behaviors, for example, like drinking and partying and not really doing much with their lives. And that weighed on my body for a very long time, to the point where I would self-sabotage when something good was happening to me. And the craziest thing is with self-sabotage, you don't really necessarily know you're self-sabotaging, you just do it. And as a result, I realized that I wasn't getting the blessings and the abundance that I wanted, because whenever I did have the opportunities, I'd find a way just to say that maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this person could do it better. And when you start speaking, your body starts to listen, and I felt more lethargic. I felt like I didn't want to do anything to increase my range. I didn't want to do anything that would give me more potential to be a truer, higher version of myself. So I was losing out just because of my thought processes. So I realized that I need to find a way to actually forgive myself. And one way I did that was just saying, look, Sydney, whatever you did in the past, just one question: do you want to do those things today? And my answer to myself is no, of course not. that's when I realized that that was who I was, and it's not who I am now or who I want to be. And that's very important and powerful because we are humans, you know, we make mistakes, we make failures, and in the process we might hurt others. But what you need to understand is a lot of people come to that level where they're like, I don't want to be that person anymore. I never want to be that person anymore. A lot of people explore and they think they're doing what they deem to be the right thing, but when they realize that they were really, really seriously wrong, they change their ways. So a lot of people in different walks of life who made mistakes. So it's natural, we're only human. But a lot of us keep on beating ourselves up over the mistakes that we have. Even though they've changed their way, they're a good person, they still live in a state of regret, shame, blame, because they haven't found that act of forgiveness. So for me, I started forgiving myself whenever I thought of a past relationship and I might have broke it off early and I didn't think about the person's feelings. I thought to myself, I did what I had to do at the time to protect my mental health. I'm not that person now. And if I was in a situation similar to that now, I would ensure that I will have clear and concise communication to whoever I'm with. And that's my goal and my aim from now on. In the past, I did hurt a lot of people. I just disappeared. I just said, look, like, just get away from me. I used to be angry, just raise my voice. And I would say now it's wrong for me, at least, because a lot of people, you need to have communication and they need to be heard. And if the other person is raising their voice and you're raising their voice, to me, that's not healthy communication. You need to just make sure everybody is assertive, everybody has their needs met, and you come to some sort of agreement or compromise that end things amicably. So now I am on the path of forgiveness and I feel much better because now I feel that beauty and abundance and love and wealth and all these things are coming to me now. And it just took that one small step of self-love to make it happen. Number two is alternative solutions. Now, I also like doing this as my role as a trainer, a tutor, and a counselor. I like talking about finding solutions. A lot of people come to me with problems, and the thing is, if you have a problem and you don't find a solution, then you risk dwelling in that problem. And if you can't find a solution, then you feel like there's no light in the tunnel. So I always say to people, look, bring a problem, but also bring a solution. And speaking to someone can help you identify and find a solution which will be best for you. Now I'm not saying that all solutions can be found by problems, but just a simple act of thinking about solutions can give you a different alternative which could stray your life from being upset and miserable all the time to finding something progressive and positive from your situation. So I'll just say, try to speak to someone, or one of my favorite words is journaling. Just write it down. You have a path, you want to get to another path, you have some hurdles. How would you jump over the hurdles? How would you cut the hurdles down? How would you make things easier for you as a result? Number three is asking for help. Now, most of my life, I didn't really ask for help. I didn't know I could ask for help. And even if I did, it felt very alien to me. And what did I do with that? Unhealthy coping mechanisms, completely unhealthy coping mechanisms. I would drink profusely and I would just end up in a state where I was just like, yeah, I could just talk to myself now. I'm drunk, I've got energy, let me just talk to myself. Not really aware that alcohol is a depressant. You drink it, you drink it, you drink it, feeling good and hype, but you get a come down, and the come down is usually worse than what you were before. So you can initiate a downward spiral. And this is why it's important to eliminate all these things that you have to take to make you feel good, and just find good things inwardly. And by inwardly, I also say just writing it down on a piece of paper, just looking at your words. And I would say also this extends to actually finding someone who's going through that situation and wants to find a healthy change. Use your words and your powers and bring that out instead of just taking things which can temporarily make you feel better, but in the long term is actually destroying your body. There are people around, it's just finding the right people. Maybe you want to speak to a therapist, maybe you want to call someone, even talking to friends and family, please just find someone who, you know, who can give you solutions. Even going on the internet helped me a lot. Going to forums, going on YouTube channels. I think out of everything that I tried, just going online and just finding people who are in the same boat as me helped me massively. Fourth one is exercise. You can go running, you can go jogging, you can go sprinting, you can go swimming, you can go walking, you can even dance in your room. I usually dance. Dancing and walking, I think, is two of my favorite pastimes. And the key act of exercise is you're getting your body, your mind, and your spirit into a level where you're just flowing, you're just releasing everything from a physical basis. Oh, look, I'm breaking my stuff. But the most important thing to consider is when you start exercising, you start releasing serotonin, you start, hormones, happy hormones, you're releasing it, you're getting rid of things that are tepid in your system, If we lie down and don't do a lot of exercise a day, your body seizes up, you've got a lot of energy just there. What you usually do is, you get your body, get your arms, get your hands, and you shake. You do stretches so you can release some of the energy from your muscles and you feel less tense as a result. So one thing that I usually do is, if I'm working all day, for example, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I need to do something, I just go for a long walk, for about an hour. I come back and I just feel so energized, and that gives me more thinking room to actually figure things out for myself. So I would strongly suggest doing exercise on a daily basis. It could be 2 hours a day of different exercises, or it could just be 9 minutes of stretching or yoga in the morning. Find something that suits you, and I'll say accompany that with breath work too. Okay, the final one I wanted to talk to is the social resources and resilience. We live in a world where there's billions of us, and a lot of us are struggling but don't know how to. So we have a unique opportunity to actually go to situations and people and try to explore how they are feeling. Now, I'm not saying talk to strangers on the street. If you are in a country where there's good social settings, then I would strongly suggest going to different events and meeting new people. This can be something that you enjoy. If you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, try to find an event which is Dungeons and Dragons orientated. If you like poetry or spoken words, which I do, just go to poetry and spoken word events and just speak to people and just hear people's stories. In fact, I would even say a good coping mechanism is to perform, get uncomfortable, find out the potential that you have, and keep on striving and thriving towards that. Because that's when you start realizing that you can do more than just what you believe you can. Your limitations get vastly reduced as a result. Even for me, I was like, oh no, I'm going to do poetry for the first time, I might as well have a drink. But then I thought to myself, that drink I reach will slur my speech. So I said to myself, okay, I'll go on stage, I'll perform, I won't slur my words, then afterwards I can get a drink to enjoy myself. Turns out when I performed, the energy I had after performing was so immense. I wasn't even thinking about having a drink. I just had so much energy. It was like, well, coffee doesn't really affect me, but it's what I imagine coffee would do to a lot of people. You just feel like you're ready to go and do things. After I performed, I would go out for 4 or 5 hours. I would go to events, I'll go to other places, and it becomes a buzz. But the best thing is that's a very healthy coping mechanism, because you're using the tools that you have within instead of relying on other things that are outwards. If you don't have the opportunities to speak to anybody socially in that aspect, then I would say, as I said before, with asking for help, just seeking someone, and that could be on a forum, that could be online. Just finding someone who can have a kinship, even social media. Just one thing I like doing is going on YouTube, reading the comments, and connecting with some of those people. Sometimes I go on LinkedIn, I look at all the people who are kind of resonating with me and my hashtags, and I also speak to them about stuff. And yeah, I have connected to a lot of people through social media, but this is the beautiful thing about what I said earlier with alternative solutions. There's not one size fit all approaches. You can find so many things, and when you have mastery over finding different solutions, you'll be surprised at what you have achieved in the year. You look in the mirror and just say, that was me a year ago. Now look at me completely different, doing different things. For me, poetry was amazing because before that, I didn't really know what poetry was. And a year ago, I just started getting into poetry. But before that, I was just like, I thought poetry was just something you do in English literature class. Not knowing that I would have met so much people, so much good people, just by going out my comfort zone and just trying something new. I mean, I went for the poetry because I wrote some poetry, but I also came just for the community, just for the experience, just to push myself and test how far I'm willing to go to find the happiness. So I just wanted to say as well, this all ties in together with resilience. You have got this, you are strong. Just keep on finding something, get uncomfortable, and keep on striving towards it every single day, and you will see results. Now, before I start breaking my computer screen completely, I will call time, unfortunately, on this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Please go into my link in my bio and follow me on LinkedIn, follow me on Instagram, see what I'm doing, because I am taking the world by storm at the moment. I'm doing so many different things. So yeah, it will be good to see you view my journey and just show love whenever. So I really do appreciate all of you for doing that, if you have so already. I want to say as well, please like and subscribe, and please also leave a comment if there's any content that you want me to do in the future. I'll be more than happy to. I'm looking to do this quite a lot, so I'm gonna do weekly episodes until the end of the year, but I also want to do episodes in the week as well. So it doesn't really have to be about mental health. It could be, you can ask me a question about relationships, for example. You can ask me a counseling question. You can ask me a psychological question. You can ask me all these things. I can give you my intake on it. But for now, I've been Sydney. This has been Illuminated DiiSCLAIMER. And please keep finding your light. Thank you.